Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to Roots Refuge. Another day, another gallon of cherry tomatoes. This is about every other day I'm picking this many, and it looks like that's going to continue at least for a while. My plants are in still pretty good shape. I actually have some more plants over in other beds that are really just starting to like set blossoms and fruit, and we're hoping to get some shade cloth over those, and so maybe we'll still be in cherry tomatoes like throughout the whole summer. That would be really cool. It was really overcast and it's like the middle of the day, and I thought, oh, it's overcast, I can actually go out there, and then the clouds blew over, so I'm gonna not stay out here as long as I was planning on it. I am gonna go ahead and harvest some of these tomatoes, specifically several of the ones that are blushing pretty well, because again, we may have rain. The forecast has been on and off about that, but I just want to make sure that they don't split if it does end up raining. I'm just going to go down here and pull these tomatoes as I go. And I'm going to take everything that is blushing. Oh my goodness, guys, look at this. So this fruit is growing wedged between these two cattle panels. Like, there's no way to get it out other than just break it. Oh, that stinks. That looks like a beautiful tomato. That is a bummer. Look. I don't know that any of that can be salvaged. Maybe I could save the seeds because it really had a will to live there. Oh, I've been waiting for this one. It's blushing, so I'm going to go ahead and take it off because it's so nice. I don't want it to split. That is a pretty big tomato. I mean, a lot of these are. Check those out. These are Dr. Witchy's. All of the yellow orange ones are Dr. Witchy's, and then this really big one is an Abe Lincoln. Alright, pretty good harvest. Got a few fruits here that the worms got to them before I did, which stinks. Nobody likes to lose harvest. However, that's why we keep some birds nearby. Here are the meat turkeys that we're raising for the holidays. And so these tomatoes that still had wormies in them and rotten spots can go help feed the turkeys. It's the middle of the day. Those turkeys are like, we'll get them when the sun goes down. Obviously, they have more sense than I do. It really is too hot to be out in it. I'm gonna take a little water break in the shade before taking my tomato harvest in the house. I'll come back out here in 4 or 5 hours when it's evening, and I've got some more planting and stuff that I want to do, but I could have handled it overcast, but I can't. I can't do the middle of the day for very long without starting to feel sick. But while I sit here having a shady water break, I did want to talk to you guys a little bit about something that I have shared so many times, but a lot of times when I'm out here just piddling, as we say here in the South, certain topics will just come to my mind, and I'll just be thinking a lot about them. And I was thinking a lot about this as I was harvesting these cherry tomatoes. Now, if you've been here for very long, you've heard me talk about the principle of knowing your why. This topic got brought up to me this morning, yesterday. Someone commented on an old video I had done years ago when I was really first getting started in social media, and it was a collaboration, and the question was like, why I garden. And all of the things that I said in that video definitely still stand true as to why I garden. But I was thinking about it all again this morning, and like, if I were asked the same question as like why we do this, if my answers would still be the same. Why do I garden? Why do I homestead? And for the most part, I would say yes. All the reasons that brought this into being a passion in the first place still very much apply. You know, when we started with YouTube, whenever we were really learning so much about homesteading and gardening and getting, you know, our first attempt with no prior experience off the ground, it wasn't the top of my priority list at that time to like share homesteading with people, to teach people about homesteading. I love to share it, don't get me wrong. I would talk anybody's ear off who would listen. But that obviously has formed over the years of this platform. So I feel like in life, you're going to have times where you have to come to a conclusion of yes. Like, you're going to grow a garden. You're going to become a gardener. You're going to go off into homesteading. You're going to take responsibility for your food sourcing. It's like these things get presented to us in life, and there are lots of other life decisions that this is applicable to. But there's like this overcoming that's required whenever you decide this is what I'm going to do. And you know, I see people making their announcement. We did a thing. We are moving to the country. We bought a farmland. We bought this property. This is what we're going to do. And I celebrate that season. That's so good. It's so important. And I think of that as being like the yes. A lot can go into a yes, because in everything that we say yes to, we're saying no to something else. Like, a lot can go into that. A lot of commitment can be required. A lot of times it's new stuff, it's exciting, it's good. But I like to encourage people when they are setting to this lifestyle to really familiarize yourself with your reason why. Because as hard as yes can be to get to sometimes, as hard as it can be to take that leap and as exciting as it can be, yes is easier to maintain whenever you know why. And my why has changed some over the years. Many things remain the same. The reason why we wanted to homestead and garden was we wanted food security. When we wanted to be able to go out to our yard, we wanted to know what we were eating. And all of that is still very much true, maybe even more so now than it was when we first wanted that. But truly, like in these, like the seasons of overwhelm in the garden, when there's so much to be done, there's a why that I'm leaning into, which is to like turn on the camera and involve people. And I'm doing that, I'm saying yes to that because my why is I love sharing this life. And I was thinking about it as I was picking these cherry tomatoes, sweat running down my back. I was thinking, I want to remind people to know what their why is. I think that if you're in partnership with anybody, if you're doing this with a spouse, if you're working with friends, if you're working in a community garden, everybody being on board with like their reason why really helps in commitment and partnership. And truly, when you get to the give up seasons, you know, like when you get to the heat of the summer, when you get to things going wrong, when you get to, you know, having to give a second or third attempt to do something that you failed at, that yes can get harder to muster. But if you have made yourself very familiar with why you're doing it, you know, you have that set in a way to stay reminded of it, to talk about it with people, to think about it yourself, to journal, it's going to get you through those harder seasons. And I think that if you're going to homestead, of course, that's a lifestyle. That's not going to be something that you do just casually, at least not for very long. And then I think gardening can very much become a lifestyle too, even though for I know a lot of people it's just kind of a hobby that they do seasonally. Even still, I see a lot of people get into gardening and then really begin timing the rhythms of their day-to-day by the garden, and it changes how they live their life, which to me, that is when something becomes a lifestyle. All of that to say, why are you doing this? Do you know? And sometimes you might not. Maybe it's, well, I kind of got inspired to, and I decided to give it a try. Maybe it was somebody else's passion that you picked up, and you need to just take a minute and own it as your own. Be like, oh, I really got into this because so-and-so, but now I realize that it stirs something in me. And why am I doing this? Because I'm passionate about it. Why am I doing this? Because it's good for my mental health. It's good for my body. I like this food security. I like what it teaches my kids. All of these being valid reasons, and I don't know how many of them may be yours. Those are all kind of mine. But having those where you can easily remember them is really important, especially whenever it's difficult. Right now, it is the heat of July. Believe it or not, here in the next couple weeks, it's time to start planning out and getting ready to start seeds for the fall garden. And I do find it like a little sad that when that's necessary to kind of start thinking about that is usually when people do not want to think about spending more time in their garden because they're already getting their butt kicked by it. So this is like my soft reminder, hey, that's coming, like that conversation is coming. Maybe you could cool off with some sweet tea and a seed catalog and you know, kind of gear your mind towards that. And if you're feeling overwhelmed and you're feeling like, I don't know that I want to do this, I don't know that it's that rewarding, if you're in the I give up season, revisit that why. Because that's the way that you get the courage of your convictions to keep moving forward. That's the way that you muster yourself, and how in the periods of immediate discomfort, you can choose discomfort in order to sow something that's going to enrich your life later on. So there's your little friendly reminder for the day from your friendly neighborhood gardener. What's your why? Why does it matter to you to grow your own food? And get hold of that, because I think it's really important. Back in the cool house where I belong in the middle of a summer day. I'll take the kitchen. And for today, I am very busy because I've got a lot of peaches to get through. In the last few days, I've made multiple peach cobblers for events and just to have at home, as well as peach ice cream. So my family is getting like lots of peach stuff, but I do need to preserve these. If anybody has any like must make peach recipes, put them in the comments down below. I'm open to all peach suggestions right now, because my neighbor Mimi gave me a basket full of peaches, and then my friend Hannah gave me a few buckets of these. So I've got a lot of fruit to get through. All suggestions welcome. And on that note, I will bid you farewell. Thank you for hanging out with me today. I bless you. Until next time.